Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Go ahead, Jonathan, you good? Yeah, there you go. Marty's out today, so we are running like the proverbial goose with its head chopped off, but Katie's got the feet still going, so, you know, it's like the old duck on the pond. You watch the duck going across the pond and just smooth sailing, but if you ever look just beneath the surface, feet are just going like crazy. That's Katie today, but she's got it covered. All is going to be well. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours since the last opportunity that we had to spend a little time with you roughly 24 hours ago. The entire nation tuning in yesterday for the verdict in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. Second and third degree murder, along with second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd. He now faces up to 40 years in prison and is scheduled to be sentenced 8 weeks from today. You can just about imagine that all eyes will also be on the sentencing phase of this, probably maybe even more so than the actual trial itself. It is one of those cases where we knew there was going to be a media feeding frenzy around this. And sure enough, the pundits, the political, what I call guest spurts, did not fail to disappoint. I have heard from any number of people following the announcement of the verdict some of the stupidest stuff I've heard in my life. For the record, I don't think there's a single person out there that does not feel revulsion when they watch the videotape, particularly the 9-minute portion. It is something that Americans of all races, creeds, and colors have a hard time watching. And as horrific as the incident itself was, to watch people attempt to make racial and political hay off of this tragedy is horrific. For example, member of the squad, AOC, quote, "It's not justice." In an Instagram video posted yesterday, AOC said, among other things, quote, "It's not justice. I'll explain to you why it's not justice. It's not justice because George Floyd going home tonight to be with his family, that would be justice. Justice is Adam Toledo getting tucked in by his mom tonight. Justice is when you're pulled over, there not being a gun. That's part of that interaction because you have a headlight out. Justice is your school system, not having or being part of a school to prison pipeline. Justice is a municipality and a government that does not, because it trickles down, right, that does not value military and armaments more than health care, education, and housing. So, no, the verdict is not justice. Frankly, I don't think we can even call it full accountability because there were multiple officers that were there. I also don't want this moment to be framed as the system working because it's not working. Here's the part that really grabbed my eye. Quote, "This is not about cameras and retraining and chokeholds. This is about changing how we structure our society and the valuing of black life." This, by the way, coming from a woman who represents a portion of the largest city in the United States of America, New York City, preaching to us about, quote, valuing black life. And yet, in her city, where she comes from, that she represents in Congress, over a 3-year span, 18,000 more black babies were aborted than were actually born. In 3 years, the largest city in the United States of America had a negative black baby birth rate of minus 18,000. And your hypocritical behind would dare preach to me about valuing black life? You ever notice something? All these cities where this sort of thing happens, they're cities that have been run by Democrats for decades. She, AOC, rails about the racism, systemic racism in America in the education system. Well, you guys have been running the system for how many decades? All the cities where this is happening, Democrat houses of representatives, Democrat senates, Democrat mayors in the states, Democrat governors. And you rail about systemic racism. Well, you've been in charge there for decades. What does that say about you and where this all comes from? Now, to my fellow people of color, my fellow African Americans, I'm going to give you the magic tool to fix all of this. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I'm going to tell you up front in the interest of full disclosure. As an American, you are charged with the quality of life in your community. See, y'all got it twisted. It ain't the government's responsibility to improve the quality of life in the community where you live. That's your job. If you want equality, you want equity, then you have to work for it because that is your responsibility. It takes work. Now, you want to fix these problems? There's a real easy way to do it. One, make sure you graduate high school. Two, you then go to school and pursue a degree in criminal justice. And three, become a law enforcement officer. Put on the uniform, strap it on every day, and go out there and make a difference in your community. See, that takes work. It's real easy to sit on the couch with the TV remote in your hand, and every time you run across a story where a law enforcement officer did something wrong, oh, you can demonize them, call them all kind of ugly names, throw stones, throw bricks, the whole nine. But to fix it, you got to get off your you-know-what and get out there and get into the mix. You want to fix the problem? Become a law enforcement officer. And I can hear you right now. I can hear you through the TV. Clarence, you must be crazy. Little as they pay police officers, you think I'm going to risk my life against them 18, 19, 20-year-old fools with AK-47s? People don't appreciate what you do? Ain't no way in hell I'm going to go out there and be a cop. But you can take all the time in the world to demonize them when something goes wrong. You want to fix the problem? Become a law enforcement officer. By the way, talk to chiefs of police all across America. Talk to sheriffs all across America and ask them, do y'all have a problem with black people signing up to become law enforcement officers? That's rhetorical. You already know the answer. You already know the answer. In many cases, they are begging brothers, come make a difference in your community. Of course now, can't drop out of school, okay? You're going to have to be physically fit to pass the physical portion. You're going to have to study to get out of the academy, graduate, and become a law enforcement officer. You want to fix the problem? Then damn it, stop being part of it. Get out there, do what needs to be done, become a law enforcement officer, and serve your community. Of course, now again, that's going to take some effort. Takes no effort at all to Monday morning quarterback every time an underpaid, underappreciated, and outgunned law enforcement officer makes a mistake. But that's just my take. Kate didn't set my clock for me, so I'm just going to use my body clock. I can feel when it's time to take a break. So I'm going to go ahead and take one. I'm just messing with you, darling. Just messing with you. We'll get this first one out of the way. I'm going to talk some shocking education/athletic news here in the capital city. Up next on the Clarence Bugg Show, right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wages wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. If you are just tuning in, new to the show, new to the station, new to the area, what have you, I have, over the years, developed a moniker that I will never tell you what to think. My job is to make you think. At some point in this country, and certainly in this community as well, communities all across Louisiana, we are going to have to make some decisions. And at the end of the day, for me, and I was just talking with a gentleman, a customer here at Bayou Smokehouse, the home of old school barbecue, and he is a military member. And you guys know my background. Growing up in a military household, sergeant as a father, spent 28 years serving this country. My perspective on the military and law enforcement is directly tied to the sentiment that the founding fathers had in establishing this country. It is the individual that holds the power. It is the individual that is responsible for electing those that represent us in this republic. It is the individual that is responsible for raising the individual's children. It is the individual that is responsible for maintaining and or elevating the quality of life in one's respective community. That being said, it is also the individual that is expected to make the sacrifice where need be to improve things in one's community. You've also heard me say on more than one occasion, when you fail to govern yourself, you have now consented to be governed. If you don't like this extra heavy law enforcement presence in your community, then when you have knowledge of a crime, call Crime Stoppers anonymously, report it. and help law enforcement get that element out of your community. Sitting around moping, griping, and complaining about it does nothing. And at the end of the day, the price of admission, if you pull out your U.S. citizenship ticket, read the fine print on the back. And yeah, I know it's no such thing. I'm going somewhere with this. Read the fine print on the back. And it says, you, in all caps, are responsible for the quality of life in the community in which you live. Do your part, and the rest will take care of itself. Education news, some shocking developments this week in the academic/athletic arenas in the capital city. 475 days after taking over the interim president title at Louisiana State University, Tom Galligan announcing that he is withdrawing his name from consideration, sending out a message yesterday that reads, quote, "Dear friends, as the search for a permanent president moves to the critical stages, I've given much thought to the future, what is best for LSU, and what is best for me and my family. When I first arrived at LSU in 1986 as a faculty member at LSU's Paul M. Hebert Law Center, I learned very quickly how much I loved teaching and writing about my students, torts and admiralty. My tenure as interim president marks the longest period of my higher education career that I have not been in the classroom. To say that I miss teaching very much is an understatement. Life brings about many moments of reflection and transition, some that require you to rethink your priorities. Many of you know, though many may not, that my family experienced a great tragedy in the months immediately preceding my taking this position. Our middle daughter, Aisling, was diagnosed with a very aggressive and rare form of non-small cell lung cancer in October of 2018 during her second year of medical school at Brown University, and passed away in August of 2019. It was a time when our family needed to continue to band together, and we did. Just a few months after her death, the Board of Supervisors asked me to consider accepting the role of interim president. I did so eagerly, but I had no idea how much change lay ahead. It has been exciting and challenging, but since the onslaught of the pandemic, we've not been able to see our children or our 14-month-old grandson as much as we would have liked. We were finally able to go to New Hampshire a few weeks ago to see our grandchild for the first time since he was 7 days old. I do not have to tell you how special that was, and it was during that wonderful visit when I began reflecting on what is most important and realized that it was time for me to make a change. It's now time for us to be able to spend more time together. So, given both personal and professional considerations, I have decided it's time for me to return to the Law Center and spend more time with my family and my students. Consequently, I've made the difficult decision to withdraw from the presidential search, though I will remain on board as interim president while the university completes its selection process. It has been and continues to be an honor to serve LSU as interim president, and I look forward to working with whomever is selected to fill the seat permanently. Thank you for all your hard work, dedication, and support. Tom Galligan, interim LSU president and professor of law. He forgot to add, "Go Tigers," on the end, but that's okay. We'll charge that to his head and not to his heart. It is a critical stage in the selection of the individual that will head up our state's flagship university. It is something that I will be the first to admit I didn't see coming. Certainly not after 475 days. Now, that being said, I am, if nothing else, a realist. And the pandemic is what the pandemic is. And this is in no way, shape, or form to disparage what Tom Galligan mentioned in that notation. Because the fact of the matter is, for many of us, the pandemic, if nothing else, has clarified in no uncertain terms the difference between our needs and our wants. There are a whole lot of things that many of us thought, geez, if I had to do without this, man, I couldn't make it. But all of a sudden, along comes the pandemic. And now it has forced us to focus on what's truly important. And for many of you, for the first time in your lives, you now have a distinction between a need and a want. As a member of the human species, all you really need is air, food, water. Yeah, but Clarence, what about shelter? Push comes to shove, you can do without that too. Ask the homeless, they'll tell you. But at the end of the day, those are the things that you need to survive. Everything else is a want. And it's like I have a dear friend. On occasion, we'll go out to dinner. And my bud will tell me, I said, man, you ought to try such and such. He'll tell me, bruh, I don't eat that. And my standard reply every single time to him is, you just hadn't been hungry enough. You get hungry enough, you would be amazed at what you will eat. Not only will you eat it, you'll like it. It'll taste a whole lot better than you ever thought it would. Get hungry enough. I challenge you to prove me wrong. The pandemic has shown us the very clear difference between our needs and our wants. Of course, now, it's pretty tough to argue with a guy that wants to see his 14-month-old grandchild. Far be it from me to ever want to deny anybody that opportunity. And if nothing else, at the end of the day, it will be the students at the Hebert Law Center on the campus of our state's flagship university that will be the ultimate beneficiaries. They will be graced with the tutelage of an individual who loves students and loves what he does. At the end of the day, if I'm a student or a parent of a student there, that's all that I can reasonably ask for. I want individuals that are teaching my children that love students and love what they do, pure and simple. Meanwhile, over across town, up on, as we very affectionately refer to it as, the Bluffs, Coach Dawson Odoms yesterday dropping the proverbial bombshell, literally from out of nowhere. Although, in talking with my dear friend Jonathan before the show started, if you can read between the lines, there have been little tidbits out there that should have informed us that Dawson might be interested in something other than Southern. Many people view it as a lateral move, meaning going to Norfolk State, member of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, which is currently in the midst of a serious decline, having lost both Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M to the SWAC. I think they've lost 5 member institutions in the last couple of years. A lot of people view it as a lateral move. Then again, there is always the long-term stability portion of this equation. It is projected that Coach Odoms will be the beneficiary of a 6-year contract, making in the neighborhood of $225,000 a year. For an HBCU football coach, that is the literal equivalent of the Holy Grail. It is an individual that's going to be hard to replace. If you've ever witnessed Dawson Odoms interact with the Jaguar football team, you know what those young men think and feel about Dawson Odoms. And replacing a guy that I chuckle because if you remember the initial press conference, it was funny. The guy that replaced Stump Mitchell as the head coach at Southern, I will go to my grave remembering Stump Mitchell's first press conference as the craziest press conference I've ever been to in my life. And understand something, y'all. In 41 years of broadcasting, I have been to a whole lot of press conferences. But when Stump Mitchell was introduced as the new head football coach at Southern, and then immediately proceeded to tell the media and all those in attendance, we are going to win every single game we play this year and the championship, I knew right then this individual is seriously misinformed. The late, great Marino Chasm coined the phrase, in the South, football is a religion, and Saturday is the holy day of obligation. That's the way we look at football in Louisiana and the South. He would have been a whole lot better served to simply say, well, we're going to be competitive. We will be in the classroom every day, and guaranteed we're going to play for 60 minutes no matter what. Had he simply done that and left well enough alone, wouldn't have been a problem. But when you come out in your very first press conference and say you're going to win every single game you play and win the championship, and instead you deliver on the worst record in the history of Southern University football, then Houston, we got a problem. Lo and behold, University hires Dawson Odoms, extracts them from the misery of the Stump Mitchell era, returns the Jaguar football program to a place of prominence in the HBCU football world. But those days have now come to an end. The search will be on, and the good thing for the individual that follows Dawson Odoms is that he will leave them great facilities, a great recruiting base, and arguably the most loyal fan base of any HBCU out there. We'll keep an eye on it, obviously, as the search unfolds, and who knows, hopefully when the new coach is announced, we'll get him in, spend a little time, do a little formal, informal press conference, and don't worry, I will be the first to tell him off camera, for God's sake, Coach, don't tell people you go win every game and the championship in your first year. Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. Get this one done. Speaking of education, we'll step down to the lower ranks across Louisiana. That's next on the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Mask help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up.
Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. We, in the last segment, we're talking a little bit about the academic / education scenario in the capital city involving our sister institutions of Louisiana State University and Southern University. It was also announced this week that East Baton Rouge will not be adopting the public school system, will not be adopting the timeline that Cito Narcisse, the new superintendent, had hoped to in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic and the expected return to school this fall. It is probably going to come somewhat as a shock to Superintendent Narcisse, the backlash, the blowback received by all of this, if you will. These are, for lack of a better phrase, strange times. Things that we as individuals prior to COVID-19 would have willingly gone along with, we now look at differently. It's amazing how when your entire existence is turned upside down, inside out, sideways, how mentally you adopt a different attitude and approach to things. I will leave to you to decide the validity of all the conspiracy theories out there. But you have heard me say on more than one occasion, if you scare people bad enough, they'll give you anything you want. They will give you everything they have. I've got to imagine if, for the sake of this conversation, the powers that be had indeed engaged in a plandemic, some refer to it as a scam-demic, even they have to be amazed with the ease that the American citizenry rolled over and played dead. Do you realize in the span of just a year, we gave up more freedoms and liberties than any other year, maybe with the exception of 9/11 in the history of this country. Now, for those that adhere, be it strictly or loosely, to conspiracy theories, take into consideration the most efficient and effective way to scare the bejesus out of people is to use something that they can't touch, taste, see, or smell. If it's something that, oh my God, I can't see it, I don't know where it is, it could be everywhere, I don't know. If it's something you can't smell, if it's something You can't hear. Those are the things that will make you do things that you never in your wildest imagination thought you would do. If you can scare people bad enough, you don't have to take their freedoms and liberties. They will give them to you. They will beg you to take them in the interest of saving us. I want to say it was Thomas Jefferson. If not, charge it to my head, not to my heart. It was certainly a member of the founding fathers that said, and I'll paraphrase, those who are willing to forsake liberty for security deserve neither. Ben Franklin, thank you. Kevin Gallagher, the scholar that he is. Those who are willing to forsake liberty for security don't deserve to have either one. Y'all do realize that there is more than just the face value of the moniker land of the free, home of the brave. I guess that's why as a kid growing up in a military household, I have such an affinity for freedom. I understand the price that was paid so that this guy, a guy who all folks that looked like him not so very long ago could be owned as property. It's why I have such an appreciation for a guy who for a long time was not allowed to get an education. So when the opportunity became available for me to become educated, well, now I've got one of two ways I can look at this. I can either say, okay, I'm going to get what I'm owed. Y'all owe me this because you denied it to me all this time. I can either look at it that way, or I can take option 2 for 200, please, Alex. I can say, you know what? I've got an obligation now. I've got to show up before everybody else. I've got to study harder than everybody else. I got to get better grades than everybody else. Why? Because I want to prove that the blood, sweat, tears, and lives that were shed on my behalf weren't wasted. Life, for me, is all about perception. It is how you choose to look at things. Right now in our country, we have people, due in large part to the politicians and the media, we have people who are forcing us subliminally to only look at the negativity and the blots that are on this country's history. Well, you know, America is systemically racist, and you know, we got a history of doing these things to black people and brown people, et cetera, blah, 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 yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it ad nauseum. But how many of them take the time to talk about, promote, and more important, appreciate the fact that, yeah, we may have done this in our past. Not may, yeah, we did it. But man, look how far we've come. Look how we have fought among ourselves. Sons fought their fathers. Mothers fought their daughters, gave their lives so that people that looked like me could work where I want to work, go to school where I want to go to school, marry who I want to marry, start a business, run for office. I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. But at the end of the day, that debt has been paid. See, the media, mainstream that they are, and the politicians who are always looking to make political hay or further an agenda, they want you to think that only the negatives have happened, We've done nothing to correct it, and we continue on even worse than we've ever been. I beg to differ. I am living, walking, breathing proof. You realize a black man of color, conservative, without fear of repercussion, can talk about the things that make this country great. You realize that as a man of color, I can run for an office, I can own property, I can start a business. What amazes me to no end is all this anti-systemic racism rhetoric. And all the folks that spout this, they can't tell me one single thing that I cannot do in this country just because I'm black. Can I vote? Check. Can I own property? Check. Can I get an education? Check. Can I work in whatever my chosen field of endeavor happens to be? Check. Can I marry who I want? Check. Can I run for any office that I want? Check. There isn't a single thing I cannot do in this country just because of the color of my skin. Now, understand something here. There is an onus that sits squarely on these little narrow black shoulders. I got to make the sacrifice. I got to show up early and stay late. I got to be the first one to raise my hand when the boss says, well, we got some overtime. Anybody want some? I got to be the first one. Why? Because somebody paid a price for me to be able to benefit from this. If you're willing to make the sacrifice, if you're willing to put your nose to the grindstone, it is still, I don't care what anybody tells you, it's still the land of opportunity. The only question is, are you willing to make the sacrifice to make it happen? Now, understand something here. You are not obligated, okay? Please, in the vernacular of the streets, don't get it twisted. You are not obligated to get out there and work as hard as everybody else. You're not obligated to take advantage of the school system, the teachers, the physical building that somebody else paid for on your behalf. You're not obligated to go to the polls and make an informed vote every time they open. But if you choose not to do these things, do us all a favor and shut the hell up. Do us all a favor. Because all you are doing is hindering those who, in another scenario, would be blessed beyond belief by taking part sincerely, wholeheartedly in the bounty that this country has to offer. It's all in how you choose to look at it. Of course, now, for a lot of us, grabbing that remote and pulling up CNN LOL or MSLSD or CBS, ABC, NBC, and letting them think for us, that's easier. That's easier than turning off the TV, doing my own research, increasing my own reading literacy, and finding things out for myself. If you want to be lazy, have at it. I've never run across it, but I'm pretty darn sure somewhere in the fine print of the Constitution, there's a line that says, it's America. You got a right to be a moron. It's in there. You got to dig for it, but it's in there. Now, if that is what you choose, God bless you, buddy. I ain't mad at you. But at the end of the day, that's not what America's about. I don't care what CNN tells you. I don't care what ABC, CBS, NBC, NPR, what they tell you, that's not what America's about. And the sooner we figure that out, the better off it's going to be for us individually and for these United States of America. Just saying. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we'll wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, in this age of negativity as far as the media is concerned, I don't know, roughly 2-3 years ago, made a mental note that I would share with you as many positive stories as possible. And you'd be amazed how tough it is sometimes to run across those that you feel are worthy of being shared among other people. But I saw this story out of Peoria, Illinois, and it so happens I have a lot in common with the principals involved in this story. Those of you that know anything about me, you know my mother was a very avid bowler. More than 50 years she bowled and exposed me to the sport early on, and I absolutely loved the game. John Hinkle is an individual that was introduced to bowling by his dad early in life. He ended up winning 2 NC2A bowling championships some 20-odd years ago. In that span of time, Mr. Hinkle has rolled more 300 games than he can count. Now, for those of you that are not bowlers, 300 is the perfect game. That's a strike in all 10 frames, and of course, 2 more in the bonus frames. His father passed away in 2016, and Mr. Hinkle had an idea. If you've watched bowling in recent memory, it's no longer just, a 3-finger game. There are now individuals that bowl with 2 hands, and if you're a 2-hand bowler, at least on the pro circuit, you're only allowed to have 2 holes in the ball. So as you might imagine, this guy has a collection of bowling balls, and there are 3 holes in all of them. So his father passes. He's cremated. He has the idea, it would be pretty cool to have my dad's ashes inside one of my balls. Took him a couple of years to find a pro shop that could take some of the ashes, put in his ball, and plug the 3rd hole in the bowling ball. So sure enough, he found a guy that could do it. A couple of weeks ago, he goes for his regular league night, bowling league. He turns to his brother, who's his teammate. Before the start of the last game, he pulls this ball out and he says, I'm gonna bowl a 300 with this ball. His brother looks at him and says, I could see the look in his eyes. I told him, do it. His father, by the way, avid bowler that he was, had never rolled a 300. He'd bowled a 298. He'd rolled a 299, but never shot a 300. So sure enough, young man gets the ball with his dad's ashes in it, goes to work. First 10 frames, all strikes. All he needs is 2 more. 11th frame, strike. He says, I can't tell you what happened, where the ball went on the 3rd strike, the 12th strike. He said, I was crying so hard I couldn't even see the lane. He said, but I know for a fact, my dad was right there with me. If you, like yours truly, are going through this existence that we call life, and you are currently doing it without your dad, and if your dad, like mine, was a hell of a man, you know what that means. Just saying. 30. Time's up, y'all, and I gotta go. But this day, just like any other, I give it to you. America, you're right. We're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, and so do I. Then again, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you tomorrow.